Supercells are the strongest types of storm modes known to mankind. With their strong outflow winds and turbulent tornadoes that tear into the earth, we must acknowledge the fact that supercells are always going to be here, terrorizing the earth. If you live in the Midwest, it's more than likely that you have been affected by a tornado watch or even a tornado warning. In most cases, you will probably be unaffected by the storm, but for many of those who are daring to get close to the ravaging beast, this would probably be the video for you. Supercells can come in many shapes and sizes, with there being 3 different types of supercells. Today, we're only going to be talking about the classic supercell, not only because of its fancy name, but it's also because it's the most common. For these storms to fire up, there must be moisture, instability, a form of vertical and horizontal shear, helicity, and plenty of patience. Let's start with our most needed, moisture. Convective moisture is very essential for storm genesis. Water is risen by convection, which can cause clouds in the atmosphere. One way to find out if an environment is saturated enough is to know what your dew point is. Dew points above 55 are normally do the trick in most situations. Of course, with certain elevations, it must be higher. Instability is also a key factor within storm genesis. Most of the time, I look somewhere around 1,000 joules per kilogram, maybe higher if I want some dramatic events of lightning and stuff like that, but most of the time, 1,000 joules per kilogram with a high helicity, which we'll talk about here in a second, really gets the job done. Horizontal wind shear is basically what is responsible for bringing our ingredients from the Gulf of Mexico farther north. Without wind shear, supercells are extremely hard to forecast, but with horizontal shear, vorticity comes out of it. Vorticity is something that you really need. Vorticity is formed when the highest or lowest layer of wind shear is at its strongest compared to the opposite side. Here we can see a front showing off horizontal rotation. This can be a form of a high or mid-level divergence or something along those lines. But with that divergence though, the ingredients will move from the Gulf up north. Vertical shear is now responsible for not only making our strong updrafts, but is also responsible for some of our large hailstones that'll fall later. Now helicity must take over. Helicity is basically the measurement of how fast winds rotate vertically. This helicity in a sense can be what can make up the mesocyclone, or basically the ginormous rotating mass that feeds the storm all the ingredients needed. A good correlation between helicity and instability can indicate that there could be tornadic supercells. The SPC is what is responsible for giving out convective outlooks. These convective outlooks can vary from measly general risk all the way up to a moderate risk. Of course, these vary from the percentage of what's going on that day, but there are some occasions where tornadoes can even form on days where convective risks are not even issued, and some tornadoes that we don't even know about. Not only are there convective outlooks, but there's also a few other ways you can check out archived storms. Not only can we look at archived storms, but we can also see some of the soundings that are off of those storms. But regardless of the situation, storm chasing is still a daunting task to anybody, regardless of how far you travel. There are some things you need to know before the chase. First of all, when choosing a vehicle, make sure that it not only fits you, but that it additionally has practicality. I have found that the 2020 Honda CR-V really gets the job done here. Efficiently, too.
Or you can drive this quarter-ton brick.
Look at this, we have backspace. What? It's got all-wheel drive. A really nice turbocharged engine. Man, check this out. This is totally the best feature. This thing has got seat warmers. 3, 2, 1. Now look at this. Man, there it goes. You thought it was a DSLR. No, it's just an iPhone 6. Alright, come on. Look at these shots. 3 in the morning here, and we're just going down the road, and oh my goodness. I mean, come on. If you don't think that's good, then there's something... okay, listen. Potato quality lighting, sure. We've invested into more stuff, and we've done this and that to make our experience a little bit better, but I feel that an iPhone 6 is a really good starting ground, or really any iPhone in general. Same thing with a few other cameras that are out there that are pretty cheap. But even if you don't have a camera, driving hundreds of miles just to get somewhere is a very, very heart-daunting task. If you're up for the challenge, going ahead. I think this is what you've been waiting for. The mesocyclone is what you're here for, right? Alright, let's talk about it. The mesocyclone is basically the ginormous rotating mass that I was talking about earlier. With this, you can see the clear rotation in broad daylight on the radar. Of course, with the rotation to your left, there is a ginormous hook echo that even shows off this rotation. Now, figuring out rotation on the surface would be something that you would have to do, because this radar is actually not doing surface velocity. It's actually a projection 2 miles above the ground. It's your job to figure out if the bear will awaken. Kokomo was hit by an EF3 tornado and an EF1 that day. Catastrophic damages rocked the town and paralyzed it for quite a while. It should be something that is noticed that tornadoes on paper may not seem like much, but in real life or in that perspective, it can be a scary thing, an extremely scary thing. Especially for people that go out and try and get next to it. I mean, people need to understand that even this little measly tornado warning that happens, or a tornado watch or whatever, if a tornado forms and is coming your direction, your life could be on the line if you don't get into safety. Which is the biggest concern out of everybody. Safety is number one. Your life and everybody else's life is more important than a tornado or any sort of footage. It's something to be completely aware of. We've just scratched the surface on Supercell Genesis, and there's a lot more information that you should know about it. But we've unfortunately come to our end on our part. We all hope for the best for 2021, for storm season, and we hope that this is a good starting ground for you. So, go out there and chase some storms. I'm not stopping you.